If you're like a lot of entrepreneurs out there, you feel forced into having to use social media for your business. On today's episode, we've got some solutions. How's it going, everybody? Jason Croft here, the Credibility Craftsman. And on today's episode, we've got Adam Scott. Adam works for a very large company here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And he's an integral part of their whole social media team. And I really wanted to have him on the show for a couple of reasons. One is to really get some of those insights into how a large company like that is really digging in and using social media in a great way. But also just because I really just wanted Adam on the show. He's an awesome guy and so many different talents in his arsenal there. And we'll have this lovely rainy day. And at some point we just pulled over on the side of the road to finish our conversation with all the noise that was going on. But Adam was really great in giving us insights into how even a small business or solopreneurs can take some of these tactics and this point of view when it comes to social media and writing and really getting out there for your business and kind of make it fun, and get away from this feeling of just having to do this. So without further ado, let's jump in with Adam Scott. How's it going, everybody? Jason Croft here with Mr. Adam Scott.
Hello.
He's usually more lively than this, but we'll get it going. See?
There you go.
Let's drive, shall we? Mr. Adam Scott, I am so glad to have you on the show. Number one, I just kind of wanted to have Adam on the show, but I thought, well, he knows some stuff too, so we can talk about some of the stuff that he knows. Tell everybody a little bit about your background and kind of what you're doing right now.
Okay.
Besides being Adam.
Yeah. Which I'm an expert at being Adam, nice. So I can advise on that as well. So I am the social media voice for a company here in Dallas. We're doing this sort of under the radar, and so we're gonna leave names out.
Yes.
But
not just a little company,
right? A big one with lots of people and walls and buildings.
Yes.
And a roof.
Yes.
And materials. And so I'm on the team that represents our social media face.
Awesome.
I'm engaging customers mostly via Twitter. But also Facebook as well. Twitter's a big focus, but we want to be where the customer is, and they're in both places. So we try to respond to that.
And this is a very customer service centric in part, but not all. Correct?
That's correct. So if you go through a lot of companies' Twitter feeds, you'll see a lot of times under the title it'll say provides support.
Right.
So if you were needing some help, and Apple does a great job of even kind of divvying up their products between, say, Apple Music and the iPhone, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
So, it'll say provide support. And that's a big part of what we do. So someone can reach out to us via Twitter, and say, I'm having an issue with, the following couple of things. We can bring them into a direct message, get some more information from them, and assist them. What we've discovered, though, is that there is an expectation for a little more social engagement.
Okay. Like beyond that service.
Yeah. It's interesting. Again, if you go to any big company's Twitter feed, you're going to find that people just want to talk to them. And I liken it to getting a shout out from the stage at a performance. People want to be kind of singled out, maybe made to feel a little special.
Yeah.
And they like the fact that they are able to sort of get behind the veil and discover that there's a human being at the end, at the other end of that Twitter response. And so
it's kind of a different version of the celebrity factor a little bit, right? It's a weird sort of version of that.
For sure. And, and Twitter really gamified the whole social engagement thing, because it was the first time that you could have followers that you didn't have to follow back. And so it kind of created this sense of, I mean, I hate to say it, but elitism. When Ashton Kutcher raced CNN to see who could get to 1 million first, Ashton Kutcher won, by the way. He didn't have to follow back anybody. Wendy's follows, I'm sorry, not Wendy's, Kentucky Fried Chicken follows 7 people. No, I'm sorry, they follow 11 people total. And it's the Spice Girls and some guy's named Herb. So it's Herbs and Spices, 11 Herbs and Spices.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a sense that I got responded to. Oh, I feel a little more special because they laughed at my joke, or they engaged me in something that wasn't strictly business, and they engaged me in a voice that wasn't strictly business, that it was, somewhat human, that it was funny, that it was provocative, that there was clearly, again, I was talking to a person on the other end of it who connected with me.
Yeah, and it's interesting too, because it's still, but it's not. There's a lot of this, like Wendy's is doing this right now, right? Like crazy, but it's and there's a team behind it and all that. Much like there's a team of you folks at your company, but it's the brand voice, and even though someone's not thinking about the person on the other end, it's still a humanizing element, and it has a personality. Right.
That's exactly right. And hopefully it has multiple personalities without frightening anybody. And we actually, our tweets are signed off by our first name.
Oh, nice.
So that they know when they've heard from Adam. Okay. Which is cool. And again, that sort of helps drive that sense that you are indeed dealing with, and we have people ask us, are you really Adam?
Right.
No, I'm actually Barbara.
Right.
You can call me Babs.
Yeah. And I really wanted to talk to you and bring up what you do for folks and for my audience too, because it's what you're doing at a very large scale and at a corporate level in this big company. So many people, entrepreneurs, can take advantage of this. Small business can take advantage of it. And they've known that they can. Right. But there's some lessons to be learned here about why they should. Sure. And I think that's exactly what we're digging into a little bit. It's humanizing.
Yeah, I think there's the expectation is out there now, and any good service provider, any good widget maker is going to recognize the opportunity to go and be present where their customers are, especially if the customers have expressed that expectation. I think that there's probably a desire for immediacy. If you look on a wedding photographer's Facebook page, it is filled with testimony. So it's super beneficial for a wedding photographer to be present on social media and also engage in a somewhat transactional way, so that they clearly set up this expectation that my relationship with you doesn't end once the event is over. I will have always been your wedding, photographer. And so I think people are starting to ask the question, well, what am I getting for my money? What is it when I put my money down on the barrelhead and I buy the ticket to take the ride? Is a social media engagement now sort of part of the package? And I can only encourage people to say yes to that as much as is possible, obviously without, taking away from their work. I mean, if you've got a 2 or 3 man operation, where you're mostly focusing on making those widgets, to stop and respond to Twitter may not be the best thing to do right off the bat, but at some point someone's going to want to engage you there. And I would advise having a game plan, being ready for that, and deciding what your voice is going to be in advance, so that you set those parameters and know what that face is going to look like.
Yeah, I agree. And I think whether it's social media, whether it's, media overall, and the social engagement and marketing overall, we're at that point. There's
absolutely,
we're almost to the point where there's not really a choice.
Sure.
And it doesn't have to be everywhere, but you're just going to start losing more and more in each of these areas that you're not in if your audience is there.
I agree 100%. And when you look at my company, if you look at I'm sure if you were to sneak into the service and support center for you go to Atlanta and sneak into Delta, I'm sure that they've got a team who responds to emails, who responds to handwritten letters, who responds to phone calls, and who are also present on, and I know they're present on social media. And so once again, you need to provide a presence in every channel that your customers are going to prefer, and that's changing generationally. As the millennials are making a little more income and they're starting to spend a little more freely, they're going to want to engage in their, in the shops that they give their money to via social media. Yep. That is their preferred outlet. They think there's an immediacy. They recognize the tool is right there in my hand. I don't have to send in a lengthy email. I can shoot you, 141 out to 280 characters, and hopefully get some resolution. Or even if I'm not seeking resolution, if my goal is to praise you or put you on blast, which is a big part of it, I recognize that Twitter and Facebook empower me as the consumer to do that. And so if your consumers are going to be empowered to use a tool, you want to get out in front of that conversation as much as possible.
Because that response is certainly expected either way.
Yeah, I mean, going back to the wedding photographer, I don't know if you remember the story of the wedding photographer that was given some pretty rough treatment via Facebook. There, the couple got out there in front with some of her fees, and they felt like they had been kind of disabused by her, and they hurt her reputation significantly. Yeah. In fact, I think that might have been here in Dallas. And, had she had sort of a prescribed response in place, ready to go, I don't know that would have saved her, but it might not have blindsided her.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those things, and that's a point of, especially the bigger company you get, I think, too. That's been the point of fear, and the response has been, well, we're not going to go over there because of stuff like this can happen. Right. But that's going to happen either way. It's better that you're there, you humanize it, you jump in, and you become a human on the other end of that. Say, here's my side of it. Here's and let's go. As much as you want to engage all of that stuff. Right.
Even non-customers at this point, and that's one of the fascinating things. Is that because everyone is an expert? I don't know if you've encountered this.
I have.
I
certainly am.
Right. That's why I'm here. And because everyone's an expert, their opinion is the one that's going to change the company.
Right.
I need to tweet and let you know how disappointed I am.
And this gets into, and I really want to get into some wonderful examples, if you can share, of just some of the craziness that comes your way, if you can share.
I mean, I probably can to a certain degree. We advertise nationally, and people want to tell us about our commercials. They want to tell us that our commercials were wonderful and made them laugh. They want to tell us that our commercials were shameful and made light of a very serious subject, and that we should be ashamed of ourselves.
Oh, wow.
And that they're never going to use our product ever again because of the content of this ad.
Interesting.
That's one of the funnier ones that we encounter. Any big company, I would say, I'm trying to remember when this really started coming to light, but any big company has to look at how they're spending their money, as far as charities go, as far as social engagements go, and you're held to the fire for that. If you are believed to be supporting something politically, people are going to have an opinion. I don't know if you noticed, online, people have political opinions.
Really? Mm-hmm. I have not come across that at all.
It's
That's
new.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's this whole new thing.
Must have been this week. Just this week.
Yeah.
Okay.
I saw one today, and so sort of what was going on with Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A, and it was the funniest thing, because for as many people who said, I'm not going to buy their sandwiches anymore, they had an equal amount going, well, I'm going to buy more, because I support it. And so again, you've got people who have probably never used our product, letting us know that they were never going to use our product. It's like, man, I'm gonna miss that dollar.
Right.
And so that's the crazy thing, is that your title on your Twitter feed can say provides support, but really what it does is it provides an arena, and we are very proud of it. We don't remove, we don't delete, we don't censor. So whatever you get on and say, now, if you do something threatening, if you
right, it's still a public forum.
Right. Well, that sort of thing, we will report it to Twitter and then let Twitter handle it. If it's the kind of post that violates, their sort of social contract, if you get on there and put an ethnicity on blast or something like that, then we're going to let Twitter sort of handle that, but we're not. We let it stand, and and we face the music. If someone has a question about our political stance, or has a question about how we're donating our money, a lot of times we will refer them to our media page and say, hey, here's a statement on this.
That's what I was going to ask you. Like, how much of this is like diverted here, diverted there, and how much is responded to? And
sure.
What are those?
So a lot of it's ignored, quite frankly, because it's simply not worth the engagement.
Yeah. Nobody's looking for a resolution. They're just spouting.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting because sometimes they are. An informed consumer will contact us and say, hey, I've heard that you are donating your money to this cause. This is a cause I have strong feelings about. Can you confirm that for us? And it's like, okay, that's a great, intelligent conversation. And we will sometimes engage with those folks, or simply say, you know what, we've heard enough of these concerns. We've gone ahead and put a statement together, and here's our statement. So those tend to be probably a little less conversational, because you don't want to get in the weeds with anybody. And honestly, those engagements can be time consuming. And while you're doing that, you're not actually providing support to someone who has a genuine problem or concern or needs assistance with your product. So again, you've got to decide pretty early on, how am I going to build a response? What am I going to do when someone, an influencer, that's a big one. So let's say, one of your, viewers who is an up and comer manages to land just a solid large account with, a mover and shaker, someone that's got 18,000 followers on Twitter. If that person is unhappy with their product, they're probably going to talk about it.
Sure.
And on the wonderful side of that, if they're happy with their product, they're probably going to be your best referral, best source of new business.
So you kind of take that gamble, and you hope. I mean, it's not really up to you to take or not anyway.
Right. You're taking the business. The gamble again is, I would say either go all in on Twitter, go all in on Facebook, or don't have a presence at all.
Yeah.
And that's what you're going to need to do, because you can sort of pick your, I guess at a lower level, you can probably sort of pick your clients.
Sure.
But
I was saying you don't have a choice in terms of somebody putting you on blast on social or something like that. Like that's up to you. Just so you know, viewers, I am pulling off to side of the road because this is a crazy rainy day, and the sound of the windshield wipers, the sound of the rain on the road, I think is getting quite noisy. Yeah. So we're gonna pull off on the side. And if the interview doesn't go well, we got an open field over here, and we're just gonna dump Adam on the side. So hopefully, no pressure.
There's a sign that says no dumping.
Damn it.
So,
foiled again.
Foiled again. Yeah, you don't get to pick who comes in your social media door.
Sure.
So again, being prepared for that response in advance, and not just with the facts, but also with your tone. Arby's gets away with not Arby's. Wendy's. Yeah. Sorry, Wendy's. Did you see the Wendy's and Moon Pie?
No.
Wendy's and Moon Pie are flirting with each other. I don't know what that's all about. That's funny. There was a rap battle, I think, between maybe Wendy's and Subway.
Oh my gosh.
So we're not quite there. We do get away with a little bit. There's an expectation, I think, now that we've kind of put that out there. And once you go down that path,
you gotta keep going.
you gotta stay on your toes. Luckily, there's enough of us. Someone will tweet us some song lyrics, or they'll work our product into some song lyrics. And if you recognize the lyrics, great, you spout right back. In fact, my very first tweet for this company, someone tweeted some of the lyrics from Walking in Memphis. And nice. I just popped right back in with the next verse. But every now and then someone will, pop in something that's newer, and I'll have to grab one of the kids and say, what is this?
What do this mean?
What's a kesha? And they'll explain what a kesha is.
Yes.
And then
you still don't understand.
Right.
And then
right. And then they'll respond for me.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So in your background, the whole reason you're in your role too is very much a writing background and all that. So go back a little bit with that and talk about some other stuff that you're doing right now.
So, I came to the field because of, I love customer service. I thoroughly enjoy resolving an issue. I like diffusing that bomb.
Interesting.
It's not for everybody,
very much. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's funny. I learned it waiting tables.
Oh, nice.
And as far as I'm concerned, there's very little difference between what I was doing, at 25, waiting tables, and what I'm doing now for such a large company. And at the end of the day, it's meeting a customer expectation, where they are.
Yeah. And it's service. Yeah. It's such a phenomenal.
Right.
And I want all my kids to.
And while everyone should wait tables.
Yeah.
Or run a coffee counter. Yep. Absolutely. You will learn about yourself. You're going to learn about people.
Yeah. And you're just thrown into. I waited tables for so many years and just so grateful.
Yeah,
for that experience.
And then you marry that to the fact that I do a lot of writing, do some stand-up comedy.
Very nice.
Write comedy. I've written comedy for a few other people. And so when I heard that there was a place that people are providing care and providing service for people with the expectation that you do it with some comedy, that you do it with a little panache. That's a word I looked up today to use.
Ding, ding.
Yeah.
Like I got
the word in. I immediately thought, well, wait a minute. If there's a place where both things are happening, I want to jump in.
Yeah, it's perfect for you.
Yeah, and it's been just an absolute blast. People send us pictures that they've taken as part of their experience with us. And someone sent us a picture of the Hoover Dam. And he, in fact, this guy was a newscaster for, I think, somewhere maybe in Nevada. Okay. And so he sent us, he sent us his picture of the Hoover Dam, and he said, hey, thanks for providing the experience today. Really appreciate it. And I hit back with, well, that's the best dam picture we've ever seen. And, it's fun to work for a company that lets you kind of slide in that
just
level.
Play there.
Play along with it. He retweeted it. It got a little bit of action. A guy recently tweeted us some of the lyrics to The Sound of Silence. And I responded with a tweaked version of all the lyrics. So
that's awesome.
that playfulness it's so fun, and it keeps me interested. It keeps everyone on my team interested. We will print out, which is funny, printing tweets. Well, we'll print them out and kind of exchange them. We'll put them up on we have a wall.
We've made a book, book of tweets. Read to you by Adam.
My wife's grandma prints out Facebook and has a photo album of Facebook.
Nice.
It is her actual Facebook. It's the sweetest thing.
That's awesome.
Ever. Yeah.
You're saying that, but after you've talked about you printing off your tweets.
Right.
All right.
That's what we do.
Nice.
You got to preserve it somehow.
The crazy world we live in.
That's exactly right.
That's awesome. But I think what can really be taken away from this too is that as much as it's sort of being dictated to us as business owners, as entrepreneurs, that this is your life now.
Right.
You are a media company, like it or not.
Right.
As much as it's being dictated, so there's already this just like, feeling towards it. It's great to have this insight that you can play with it.
Right.
Because it is for so many people who maybe they're personally not dealing with any of this. They don't want to be on Facebook. They don't want to be on Twitter. So it's all just, oh man, something else I have to deal with, and I have to do this and I have to do that. Right. And when you can let go just a little bit and go, let's play.
Yeah, let's have some fun.
Yeah.
It's only going to serve you for as long as you can read the room. Yep. As long as you know your audience. And that can be tricky with 280 characters. Is this guy being playful? Are they really, really upset? Sometimes they're both. Sometimes someone is upset, but they still,
but they're funny.
Yeah, well, and they still love you. That's one of the funniest things. People will, they're like, I really like your product. I like your company. You are letting me down today. And I just wanted to let you know that, if I were there, I would hug you, but I'd give you stern talking to. And so if you're now on the other end of that thinking, well, how do I pair that flavor?
Thank you.
Yes.
Sorry.
I would hug you as well. And it's funny. We seem to have seen a resurgence here in the past 10 years or so of the craftsmen. We've got people who are, craft beer is everywhere. Yep. People are hand making soaps again. People are, hand making skateboards. And so there's this neat kind of return to, ground level production. And I'm sure a lot of the people you work with are, well, I mean, look at what you're doing. I mean, this, sure. This is very ground level production. And there's this interesting sort of juxtaposition because, the guy who is, spending his time hand making, soap from herbs that he picked, from wherever, he also has to have an online presence.
Right.
Right. You've got to have both, and creating that voice and doing that engagement and really doing it in the voice of your product. If you're a casket maker, maybe don't be funny. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Or set yourself apart.
Or be the funny casket maker.
Exactly.
That's what it is. Funnycasketmakers.com, trademarked. That's mine.
Yes. Give me a second.
That's right. That's mine now. You open the lid and then snakes pop out.
Waka, waka, waka.
Waka, waka, waka. We've devolved.
I was going to get that one in today.
Yeah, that's right. Good.
Score.
Right. We got panache and waka, waka, waka. Done.
Nice. So, and you're also doing some writing.
Yep. Yeah.
As well, outside of this role.
That's correct. I am. I'm the ghostwriter for a fitness blog, which is funny because people look at me and say, "Well, have you read it?" It's like, hey, it's about healthy lifestyle.
I know. That's why I'm the ghostwriter.
That's right. It's not elite fitness.
I'm not wrong. I'm just not following.
Read it. I believe it. Give me a break. I also ghostwrite for cookies. What do you want from me? What's great about when I became a ghostwriter is I told my client whenever he has to tell me no that I want him to tell me negative ghostwriter.
Nice.
Yeah, and he does. It's pretty great. So, great. which is really interesting because with that scenario, I'm capturing a single person's voice, and it's not me. It's not my voice at all. And so when I sat down with him to sort of figure out what that was going to be, I actually said, "Hey, who are some sportscasters that you really resonate with? Who are some media personalities that when you read their articles, when you hear them, deliver their message, online or whatever, that you really kind of resonate with?" And so I had to kind of go and figure out how to
that's interesting.
Sound like somebody else.
So it's a little bit, it's kind of a hybrid. It's not necessarily his voice,
right,
but the brand voice, which is, it's very much him.
Right, because he's an entrepreneur.
Right. But these other elements, so it's its own sort of sound.
Yeah, exactly. And and I'll throw in some comedy, I'll throw in some jokes, and I'll be like, "Man, that's funny stuff. Get rid of it."
Oh, wow.
It's not
not his brand.
It's not where it goes. It's not the brand. Or he'll, maybe not quite get rid of it, but he's like, "Yeah, that's good. Let's, can we make it a little more not that it wasn't family friendly, but can you make it broader? Can you make it a lighter touch, that sort of thing? Can you bring some levity to it?" And so, that's been an interesting challenge because if I'm writing for me, I can be punchy and aggressive, and I'm a heavy metal writer. That's who I am.
Meaning what?
Meaning I just want to get in there and just make my points. I want to be as succinct as possible. And really sort of kind of drive it until I've made the point and not use any more words than necessary.
Gotcha.
Which is the opposite of what I just did in explaining it. I'm aware.
I was going to say something.
Said it first. And so again, when you're writing for someone else, they might want you to stretch that out to really kind of almost belabor a point. And it's funny when you feel like they're wrong and they're
and that's just the point. Like,
right.
But they're the client.
Right.
And they're
my client's watching. You're never wrong.
Yes.
Very glad that we work together, and I'm not supposed to be writing while I'm doing this instead.
That's right.
So, I have time.
He actually has his typewriter with him. that he
Yep,
uses.
it's an old swing line.
That's right.
And then I scan it to the internet. And then I take a picture and I print that picture out.
Perfect. And hand it over to him.
Full circle.
Love it.
That's what we do.
So I like all this. What would you recommend for someone actually like on the other side because of the role you are like looking for that ghostwriter, honestly?
Sure.
Like, and ghostwriter can certainly, I mean, obviously you can do a whole book with that. You can do blogs like you're doing. It could be, your entire social media could be outsourced like that. But what are some of those things to sort of look for someone?
Yeah, I mean, I think someone who gets it, someone who you sit down with and have a good conversation with.
And Ian, what's that process? What is that? Just like, hey, let's chat, or is there
for me, that's what it is. We meet at a coffee shop. I don't actually bring my laptop. I bring a notebook. And I ask, a bunch of questions. I ask them to explain anything. And throughout the course of it, my goal is to be able to explain their product back to them. Once I've got a handle on explaining their product back to them, I feel like I've earned their confidence. And then I can say, you know what, I've got enough for a draft. I've got enough for the very first kind of go around with this specific topic. So why don't I go take a run at it? I'll send it over to you. You give me notes, and then and so I will do two things intentionally. I will overwrite. I'll write way more than I need to because it's easier to trim back. And I will still find a way to leave some space in there for him to put his edits in. And that seems to be working really well. I would say that if you're making a product, if you're running a business and you need to hire a copywriter freelance, if they can't explain your product back to you, and not just in the way that they understand the function of the widget, if they can't explain your, maybe more than just your product, maybe your vision.
Sure.
Maybe
in your voice.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Then that might not be the best writer for you, but if you've got someone that, once they put the ink on the page, it's crystallized and they have become your ambassador. They're your digital ambassador.
Oh, yeah.
And so who is it? Even if their name's not on it, your name is. And so, are you ready to kind of relinquish that control? And if there's anything I know about entrepreneurs, classically, they don't love letting go of
Sure.
control. Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the nature of it, and because by having control and having a good tight grip on the development of their product and their company is what made them so successful up to this point.
Right.
Well, now it's time to sort of share in that, and what you're sharing in, I mean, everyone's got a sense of vanity.
Oh, yeah.
And Will Ferrell said that there's no vanity in comedy. And I would say that probably to a certain extent, there can be a lot of vanity in any level of success. And so you have to remove some of that vanity and say, you know what, let's be vulnerable. Let's be honest. I'm going to let someone else be my voice because they're going to take some risks with how we come across. And when you do that, you might even learn some things about your own company, about your own product, when you have someone kind of hold up the mirror.
And your own clients, your own that you never had time to go learn and figure out.
Right. This is how people are experiencing your product. Did some research. I looked at your Twitter feed. I looked at how people are responding to your request for hashtags. What's one of the things we do with this guy that I'm writing for? Every article ends with a request to engage with us on Twitter and use that week's hashtag.
Oh,
and it's like, hey, this week, like I said, it's fitness. So it's this week. We want you to tell us that you got your glass of water in. And so, people were hashtag, had my water or, whatever it was. And so you will learn a lot of people's digital expectations, what they want from your presence, just by looking at how they engage with you. I mean, and I know that seems so simple, but it's easy. It's easy to miss when you want to just drive it and drive it and drive it.
Oh yeah, it's a simple thing to do, but it's also simple not to do it. It's easy to just skip over that and be intentional.
Right.
I think that's great. So I love this. I think there's so much there that folks can apply, no matter what size of company that they're running. What's the best way for folks to follow along and be entertained on your social media and your They want to stalk Adam.
If they want to stalk Adam, I'm on Facebook. I've got a couple of Twitter feeds. I've got a novelty account called Nerlin from Florida.
Nice.
Nerlin is a gentleman from Florida. He's got a best friend named Hard Luck who lost a toe. They eat possum.
Nice.
They were kind of inspired by Florida Man, by having lived down there and seeing what's on the news. So Nerlin from Florida is down there. My bigger presence is the suburban bomb shelter.
That's right.
And so I've got kind of a fascination with suburbia. I have a fascination with the bomb shelter culture of the 50s. I grew up a suburban kid, and so I can't talk much about what it's like living in the big city and under all the rules of the concrete, the asphalt jungle. But I can tell you what it's like sneaking into backyard pools and all that. So, that's a blog that I've had for a while. It's also my other Twitter feed, the Suburban Tour Guide. Blog's a little defunct. I've been so busy writing for everybody else.
Yes. I know how that goes.
What they say about cobblers without shoes.
Right.
Their feet get cold, I guess.
Yeah, something.
Yeah, something. That's how to keep up with me. Obviously, they can. I say obviously. I'm assuming they can contact me through you.
Possibly.
If you're needing a ghostwriter, if you're needing a ghostwriter. I don't have a card. This is my card.
I don't have.
Do you not have a social media presence?
I don't have any social media. I'm everywhere. What are you talking about?
I believe you. There you are.
Awesome. Well, that's fantastic. And Adam Scott, definitely on Facebook.
Definitely on Facebook.
Arrest this guy on Facebook.
Please come find me.
I don't know how many times I'm going through posts of Adam just like to my wife. You gotta like, she's just rolling her eyes.
Well, let's put that to the test. What kind of weather are we having?
Rainy.
We're having weathery ass weather.
We are having weathery ass weather.
Can we say that on this?
You can say that.
Can we use bad words?
So much more.
All right. Are we saying bad words? Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
You can make up bad words if you like.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. Like snark you, pal.
Yeah. My 6-year-old uses meow as a curse word.
Funny.
He's just like
my
what
wife.
The meow is happening in here.
Get in here right meow.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Because you can't get mad at him.
Right.
What are you going to do?
Yeah, what are you going to do? Your intent is to swear.
Yes.
You've not delivered it, so...
But I'm laughing, so
right.
it's perfect.
So we're gonna let you go with it.
Awesome. Thanks so much for being on, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
It's been a blast.
It was a lot of fun.
That was such a blast. I hope you enjoyed that interview with Adam. So much fun. Good friend of mine, and I really enjoy having any excuse to hang out with him, for sure. But I really did want his insights into, applying social media to your business. As much as we're really into that point where, well, yeah, that's a no-brainer. We have to do that. I think for so many businesses out there, and especially the 1-2 person shop that is already overworked as it is, there's this feeling of, well, yeah, I have to be on there, but what can I do about it? What's the bare minimum? I can't afford to hire someone right now. And if I do, what am I looking for? So I hope we answered a lot of those questions for you. I really appreciate Adam's insights into that. Make sure you reach out to him all over social on the areas that he talked about, his wild accounts and his personal ones as well. And if you want help in navigating those waters a little bit, whether it's digital marketing, some of the social media components that we talked about today, and certainly the media side of things, putting together a show like this, a podcast, even some simple videos or client testimonials, make sure you give me a shout at jason@croftmediaco.com and get you taken care of. And if you like episodes like this, make sure you subscribe here on YouTube. And if you're listening, subscribe on iTunes as well, or your favorite podcasting platform there. Subscribe so you get all these great interviews. And we'll see you next time.
It's Saturday night. It was
was Saturday night and I'm feeling kinda silly. Winter coat on cause the air was chilly, but I'ma make my way out to the record spot. Gotta find some new breaks for the beats to rock. I gotta come with the flavor like some lifesavers. On now and later, Dr. Beat Maker. If I'm a player, it's like your tape deck. And if you miss the gig, then take a rain check. Stacks of wax piled high to the ceiling, need a U-Haul truck if I would think about stealing. But it's not my steed, so I commence with the digging, no kidding. Something that'll keep the beats hitting what I'm getting. So much to choose from, bro.